Number one is going to be co-signing on a loan for either the church or the pastor. Don't do this.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode here on the YouTube channel. And you know I'm back here with my man Pocket Watching with JT. Give him a round of applause, family. And I'm gonna let him explain who he is. Go ahead, brother.
Listen, people, this is Pocket Watching with JT, Real Accountant Reacts. I'm in these YouTube streets to help you think like an accountant. My channel is a reaction channel where I react to different finance and business related issues. Why? Because there are a lot of scams online, and it's my job to help you see what's good financial information and what is bad financial information. That is what I do.
All right, give him another round of applause, because my brother B putting it down on these YouTube streets, man, exposing all the crooks. But brother, we've done a really good show. So many the last few months. One that was a really big one with Dr. Umar Johnson. I had him in the thumbnail. He was mad probably, but we're gonna talk about something very similar today, which is black church scams.
Yes,
right. We gotta talk about that, brother. Why are we talking about this today, brother?
Listen, there are so many victims in the black community from financial scams that they get involved in their church. Church can be a great place for you to grow spiritually, for you to grow with your family and community. But based on all the relevant information that I have, the church is not always the best place for you to find investment opportunities. But we're about to get into it right now.
Okay, because now I know about the 18 offerings in one service, the Dusty Building Fund. Y'all comment below if you know about that building fund. And like Steve Harvey said, ain't put a doorknob on the church. But we know that because we all come from I come from the Baptist church, and some of y'all have church all day. Church of God in Christ, you go there at 8 o'clock in the morning, get home till 11 o'clock at night. But anyways, but let's talk about what are some of the scams, because we got different folks. Some people with Kojic, some people, full gospel. Go ahead and tell them what these scams are, brother.
All right, listen. I'm going to name off 3 of the top scams that I have found victims in the black church. Now listen, people, when I say black church, am I talking about your church? Maybe, maybe not. If the things that I mention happens in your church, then I'm talking about your church. But if these things don't happen in your church, don't get too mad. All right, it's going to be okay. But here's one thing that I have found victims of financial scams in the black church. Number one is going to be co-signing on a loan for either the church or the pastor. Don't do this. Okay?
Whoa, say that again. Say that one more time. Doing what?
Do not co-sign for a loan for either the church or the pastor. Please understand, the pastor has undue influence over you. And if they are asking you to help them co-sign for them to get their new house, or co-sign for their car, or co-sign for the building fund, or co-sign to get a new church, don't do it, because he has undue influence. Their influence over you is too big and strong for you to actually think rational. I've seen a lot of people end up broke because they gave their pastor, their church, the ability to co-sign on some loans. And then, of course, they default on the loan, and my client is totally destroyed with their credit.
Wait a minute. Oh, stop the show. Somebody co-signed a car for the pastor.
Yes.
So let me ask you a question, brother. How do they even get to, because you go to church, I put the $20 in the offering, altar call, I go home. How do they get, how do they even know that this happened? Or this is
great question. Great question. This is what happens.
Okay.
There is a grooming process, right? They don't just pop up on you and say, hey, can you co-sign on this loan? That's not what happens. There's a slow grooming process. So what I have seen, let's say you join a church or you're first time at a church, and they ask everybody, obviously, if this is your first time here, stand up, right? And they make sure you greet the new members. This is not a bad thing. This happens at almost every church. But this is a part of the grooming process. They're going to ask you to fill out like new member questionnaires. If the new membership questionnaire has certain things about how much money you make, things of that nature, be a little suspicious. Yes.
Oh boy, that's smart.
I have even seen, O'Shea, even seen questionnaires where it's not just asking you how much money you make. They want you to bring in your last 2 or 3 tax returns or a W-2 so they can see exactly how much money you make so that they know you're giving the right amount when you're tithing to the church. But this information is all being used so that pastor can slowly groom you. Here's another little trick. If you just join this church maybe a couple of weeks or a month in, and all of a sudden you're being invited to be on the deacon board, you're invited to be a part of the inner circle of the pastor's staff, that's a red flag. Why is he calling you up? He's calling you up because he wants to bring you into the close circle so that sooner or later he can lean on you to co-sign on a house, co-sign on a car, because they see you have money and you have resources that they can exploit.
Damn. Yeah. That is so dusty, but it's smart. I gotta give it to him. It's crazy how people in the black community can come together to scam. Yeah. But can't find out how to solve these problems in East St. Louis. But we're gonna leave it alone. That I'm just gonna say it just that was I gotta get that was some shady shit right there. Yeah. That was dusty, but that was pretty good. Yeah. That's pretty good. Okay, number 2. What's the second one, brother?
All right, so number 2 is going to involve. It sounds hard, but if you feel like you're part of some sort of slave labor, listen. Being a volunteer is great. But when it comes to a point where it feels as if you are volunteering every single day, they alienate you from your friends and family and tell you that, hey, if someone complains about how much time you're spending at this church, something's wrong with them. It's not you. They're trying to cut you off from all of your support where you feel as if you only get support from the church. And I'm telling you, you're going to wake up one day with no money, no friends, and the church is going to leave you sooner or later too, because you're not going to have any money. So you need to make sure that honestly, you want to help out with the church, you want to participate with the church, but don't become a literal slave to the church where you're there so often that you're not able to take care of yourself. This really happens a lot with people who are young, like we're talking about teenagers really trying to find their way in life. And then the people who are older, the retirees, where they're trying to really find that last church home. And this church is just milking and draining their retirement accounts because they feel as if this is now their new family.
So when you say slave, can you give me some examples of what kind of stuff in the church people would want to know? Like, what is it?
All right, here are some characteristics to look out for. If the church is telling you, the church staff is telling you that they want you to respond immediately whenever they reach out to you, you have an obligation that if at any time they call, you need to respond and meet them somewhere or be at the church, their own time, no excuses made. That's unrealistic, people. It's unrealistic, right? That's one telltale sign. Another telltale sign is if they're telling you the work in the church is more important than your work as a husband, as a wife, as a provider for your family. This is more important. That's not necessarily the case. The church, in my experience, is supposed to help support you and strengthen you to be a better husband, father, wife, right? it's not supposed to take the place of the obligation. So if you are unable to pay your mortgage, unable to pay your rent, your car note, because you're giving so much of your time and your resources to this church, that is what I'm referring to as slave labor.
And it sounds almost like David Koresh type of cult thing, right? Like,
yes,
let me just say it, like Jehovah's Witnesses type.
I've seen many examples of this, and it goes all throughout the spectrum. People who are, have a Christian church base, a Muslim church base, a Jewish church base, Scientology. I've seen it all across the board.
Yeah, Scientology don't be bullshitting. You better answer when they call. They ain't playing.
Right.
Okay. They ain't playing. Okay, that's some good information today. Sure. I'm glad I'm backsliding right now. I ain't got time for all this bullshit. I'm just gonna keep freaking on OnlyFans. Okay, brother, what's the number 3 that we got today, brother?
All right, number three, I want to say is probably one of the most important ones. You do not go to church to find investments for your retirement plan. Okay? Because I've seen time and time again churches that either bring in a financial expert to help the church. I've seen situations where the church actually gets kickbacks from this scammer who comes in and tells them that I have a holy investment. Here it is, O'Shea. It's not a regular worldly investment. They'll say, you don't know where your money's going in the regular world. You could have your 401k, and your 401k could be invested in a strip club, or your 401k could be invested in a casino. If you give me your money, I'll make sure your money is only being invested in godly things. That is one of the telltale signs that honestly, time and time again, it is going to end up a scam. It's happened many times in churches in Atlanta, in the Midwest, on the East Coast, on the West Coast. You don't go to the church for investments, especially if they're offering you astronomical returns like 20%, 50%, 100% return on your money. That is not going to happen. No way, no how. And if they could get those type of returns, they wouldn't be at your church. They'll be on Wall Street somewhere making billions of dollars. So please, I'm begging you, do not look for investment opportunities in the church. That is not what the church is for.
Do they kind of also because people think that, the power of God is so amazing. So is that what this is? Like he can, because Jesus turned 2 loaves of fishes and 5 bread. I don't know. Is that what they do? Stuff like that?
This church will use any piece of scripture that they can to make it seem like this is the investment that you need to be involved in. God has blessed this investment. This is why you need to be here. Last time I checked, I have never seen an investment that was blessed by Jesus Christ. I just have not. It does not exist. Please, let's keep a separation between your investing world, your regular life, and the church. The church is supposed to strengthen you spiritually. It's supposed to help you make a greater bond between your family members, between your community, but it's not a place for you to find investments. That's not where it is.
All right. No, I definitely agree. So listen, don't let Reverend do you wrong and get you broke, because that kind of situation, it happened in my church. Where, and it wasn't like that the pastor stole any money from the church, but the pastor tricked the church into giving him more power over the church.
Yes.
And the church had some money, and he was able to take some money from the church.
Right.
And then absolutely. That's what he did. So he didn't ask them no, you ain't got to give me no money. No, give me more authority to make more decisions.
Right.
Took a church vote. And he was going to Texas somewhere.
That's great. So right now, because of O'Shea, we got a bonus number 4. Here's a bonus number 4. And honestly, Kevin Samuel spoke to this a few months ago. These pastors need to be willing to share in power, share in authority. If you are in an organization, in a church where there's no checks and balances, there is no council, there is no board, it's basically a dictatorship. One person can say whatever happens. It's all up to one person. If you're involved in a situation that is basically a religious dictatorship, that is a telltale sign that you need to get the hell out of there, because sooner or later it's going to blow up in your face.
All right, so guys, you heard all of that, and again, nobody does it like the Pocket Watcher, man. I'm telling you, he will break this down because he understands these Negroes to a whole nother level. Again, that bonus number 4. So guys, subscribe, hit the bell. Again, we're trying to get our brother to 1,000 more subscribers. That'll give him
Yes.
40.
Yes.
Help us help Brother Pocket Watching on his way to the 40,000 subscribers. And brother, I always ask people, why should they subscribe to the Pocket Watching with JT YouTube channel? Go ahead and tell them why, brother.
You should subscribe to Pocket Watching with JT if you want to really understand how money works. I break down in the easiest way possible about what's good financial advice and what is bad financial advice. And I expose these people with huge followings online, and I show you how they have no idea what they're talking about. So subscribe to Pocket Watching with JT.
Give him a round of applause. And guys, I'm so glad that the brother was able to come through, give us this particular great information. Check him out, first come up in the top. And you churches, you better beware when Pocket Watching is right. He's watching everything y'all are doing. Y'all don't think he's watching. He's up drinking coffee and taking notos. He's looking at everything that y'all are doing. I'm right there watching also. Okay, I'm not Pocket Watching, but I know that y'all are dusty. And every chance we get, you black in Black America, to expose you crooked ass preachers, you chicken eating jackleg preachers. Every time I'm going to do it. Every time I don't like y'all no way. I never liked you. I would specifically become a deacon to be a thorn in the side of black pastors. That's how much I don't like y'all. Okay, y'all have, most of y'all. Some of y'all are good though, but most of y'all are dusty. We gonna you all you black churches out there. Y'all have done too much. We watching everything you do. We're here. We watching y'all. But anyways, these y'all we have fun. But guys, subscribe, hit the bell. Check out Pocket Watching, come up to the top. And as you know, the buffoonery remains at all-time high. We out.